The supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting. Napoleon Bonaparte. This is a very, very interesting quote, but it wasn't from Napoleon. This quote is actually from Sun Tzu, who, if you read The Art of War, it talks about the idea of maneuvering and this whole concept of winning without fighting, just simply by outthinking and outmaneuvering the enemy. Basically, catching them off guard and letting them fight the war on your terms, not on theirs. Put them into a position where they're constantly responding to your attacks and not attacking you. You also see this a lot in sports. Muhammad Ali was very, very famous for using a tactic similar. By doing all the other stuff, the psyching people out before the fight, and in the fight, just outmaneuvering them, he would drive all of the boxers into a position where they would overreact, overcompensate, and they just couldn't touch him because of that. Understand that this strategy is also happening right now before your eyes with Bernie Sanders and his campaign against Hillary. I don't know if anybody else has noticed this, but I have. If you watch the debates closely, you'll notice two things that happen. The first is that Bernie Sanders has been driving the moderators' questions. Now, what do I mean by that? The way how Bernie Sanders chooses to answer a question, it will usually forces the moderator to ask a follow-up question or to lead into another topic. And it's usually another topic that's on an issue that they think will be strong for Hillary, but actually helps Bernie. Because it gets him to talk more about his policies and to stay on message. The other thing you'll notice is Hillary. This entire campaign season, she hasn't been able to talk about her ideas or her plans. What she's been doing is constantly reacting to Bernie Sanders. Bernie has also boxed her into a corner in which she has to walk a very, very, very delicate line where she has to craft her message so finely, and she has to choose her words so well to not alienate the Democratic base, but also not alienate her campaign contributors. This is why on issues like the Fight for 15, she wants $12 an hour. It's $3 freaking. Why she can't be for single payer, even though she ran on that issue for many years. Why she's been forced to defend Citizens United. Understand that this is a losing strategy for multiple reasons. One of the biggest reasons is that it's very difficult for her supporters to spread her message because the message is complicated and a lot of times they don't even understand it. This is a disaster for a grassroots movement versus Bernie Sanders' message, which is so clear and concise and easy to explain. An automatic victory. Hillary has also been caught off guard by Bernie Sanders. The whole plan that the Hillary campaign had at the start of her announcing her candidacy was that she was going to coast through the primaries, they'll deal with the email scandals. That's pretty much all that the Republicans would throw at them. Because nobody would ever attack her on Keystone or the TPP or any of that stuff because the Republicans want that. Or financial regulations. Who would do that, Well, maybe Donald Trump. But that's easy. She'd defeat him by saying, he's racist or whatever. So they had a really, really, really thought out plan that Bernie Sanders just threw a giant wrench in. And instead of this campaign being about the Democrats holding women's rights and LGBT rights hostage, like they always do, for votes, because we're too scared of the Republicans, instead what Bernie Sanders did was give people a legitimate choice. You can choose somebody who obviously will say whatever to win the presidency, or you can choose somebody who actually wants to change things. And that was something that Hillary and the establishment were not prepared for. Now, the reason why I had to make this video and explain this concept was because I've been noticing a lot of Bernie supporters saying that they want to see Bernie get nasty with Hillary. They want to see him more aggressive because she's up there and she's just flat out lying. Understanding that that would be a mistake. The strategy that Bernie Sanders is using right now is genius, and it's guaranteed to work. Napoleon Bonaparte, I forgot what battle it was, had actually won a battle without firing a single shot. And the way how he was able to do it was by confusing his enemy, who had a much larger army, by doing maneuvers that they couldn't predict. He created this illusion that Napoleon's army had completely outmaneuvered them and that they were surrounded, and they surrendered without firing a single shot. The absolute embodiment of Sun Tzu's philosophies. There are also other stories about, or legends about, Sun Tzu defeating whole armies simply by just moving his army around. And eventually the other army would run out of money or would get scared and surrender. Bernie Sanders is outmaneuvering Hillary, and we're going to win.